Cursed. Cursed. We all go a little mad sometimes.
There's a formula to it. A very simple formula.
I saw the boogeyman. I saw him outside.
What's your favorite scary movie?
Hey, Tomb Dwellers! Welcome back to a brand new episode of Tomb of Terrors with me, Old Man Brad. Whether you are new to the show or returning for another episode, thank you so much for giving me a listen. If you love the show, drop me a review on your favorite podcast app, or you can support the show over on Patreon, just patreon.com/oldmanbrad. And follow me over on social media. Just look for Old Man Brad on Blue Sky and Tomb of Terrors over on Instagram. Of course, make sure you're following me over on Letterboxd so you can see all the watches I do. This episode, I am back with another interview for you. The new film, The Leaching, which just came out everywhere last week. I had the chance to talk with writer-director Evan Showalter about the film. Can't wait for you to dive into it. Before we do, I'm just going to tell you a special Frightful Fridays. This Friday this drops on July 24th. Shark Week kicks off over at the Esquire Theater. Our friends at Secret Base Cinema will be showing The Shark Hunter at 7:30. And then right after that, make sure you stay around. I am so excited to be hosting a screening of Bruno Mattei's Cruel Jaws. Had an episode about that last year during my month of Mattei, where we talked about many Bruno Mattei movies. Last week, you could hear Brett, Pete, and I talk about Shocking Dark. I'm a big fan of Bruno Mattei's terrible movies. So come out this Friday, July 24th at 9:50. Let's watch some Cruel Jaws. All right, let's move into The Leaching.
I think we're good. I think okay. Yeah,
right, come on.
Good.
Your name's Vivian Green.
And I'm Ellis. I'm your dad.
You were in a car accident a few months ago. And now in moments of stress, we have episodes of amnesia.
Please, help me. Please.
Dear Lord, thank you for delivering my Vivian back to me. Thank you for your constant guidance.
Dear Lord, thank you for returning me to my father, for showing me the way.
Amen.
After waking up on her father's isolated forest property with amnesia, Vivian must use her limited memory to piece together the nightmarish truth, all the while being tormented by the undead, a giant leech monster, and her father. This is written and directed by Evan Showalter. It stars Reese Parrish, Devon Lohman, Sandin Silva, and really not too many more. As I said, this just came out on VOD last week, so you can rent it, buy it. I enjoy this movie. It's a slow burn, but there are many moments in this. It goes surreal. It might jump around a bit, but I kind of liked a lot of the imagery in it. I'll dive a little bit more into that after our interview. It felt like almost like a Tales from the Dark Side, or something you would see on Creep Show or Tales from the Crypt or something like that is kind of what it felt like to me, just a little bit longer. Before I dive any further, why don't we move into my interview with Evan, and I will talk to you on the other side. My guest today takes us on a dark, nightmarish, isolated journey in his new film, The Leaching, which is out now. I want to welcome in writer-director Evan Showalter. How you doing today?
Good. I'm doing great. Thanks so much for having me.
Big thing I want to know is what inspired the story for the Leaching?
Honestly, I don't know if I could point to a specific source, a singular source. I was a sophomore in college when I got the idea. And the whole thing kind of popped into my head as one big concept, and that stayed true through most of the rewrites, which was someone with amnesia being terrorized in this cycle of I won't spoil too much, but
Okay.
amnesia, isolation, leech monster that has stayed the same through all the different rewrites and stuff. Yeah, but in terms of like films that have inspired me, if you can't tell, I love monster movies, so anything by John Carpenter in the 80s, that's my jam.
There is some 80s vibes to it, some almost like either Tales from the Dark Side or Twilight Zone-esque kind of feel a little bit to it. So I was curious if you had any inspirations on that side.
Thematically, I love a lot of Mike Flanagan's work. In terms of visuals, I know we pulled a lot from Mandy, but like even with the stuff that inspired us, it was really just on the our initial like lookbooks and stuff. The movie kind of became its own weird, crazy thing the longer we worked on it.
It's set in kind of like an isolated area in one, single house in this area. Did you film like in one location, whether it's the house in the area?
Yeah, so for the most part, we are filming in this cabin in Michigan. The caveat to that is we filmed this really unconventionally, which was, I mean, we were in college and trying to get all this together to align with everyone's schedules and make the budget work. Like, we definitely had to come up with some workarounds. So what we would do is, and we were in college in Chicago, which was a couple hours away from where we were filming. But we would go and every weekend film like the bones of the movie, which would be like the wide shots and the master coverage and whatnot, edit all that together, and then over the next, year and a half, go and get close-ups, inserts, reshoots, and those were done all over the place. So we filmed the Red Room scene with not to spoil too crazy, but the torture dungeon that he's got in the attic. That is stitched together with both the actual attic in the house and my tiny apartment in Chicago. We turned into that attic, and the cave is a cave in Kentucky. We filmed in parks, and there are scenes outside that like the dock scene is 3 different parks stitched together to make it seem like it's one scene.
Overall, saying that you kind of did pieces here and there, about how long did you film this whole movie?
I wrote it about halfway through my sophomore year of college, which is about 3 years ago. And then we started pre-production and we were ready to shoot by my junior year. And we filmed all through junior year when the weather would permit. As soon as it got snowy, obviously we couldn't film. Or when the leaves changed, so we would take a hiatus like November to like April. And then we went back again, got the rest of the footage all through senior year. And then the whole time we were cutting it together, figuring out what else we needed. So it took about 2 years of filming, but across those 2 years, probably 20 shoot days in total, maybe a little bit less. But yeah, super unconventional. We were Frankensteining this thing together every step of the way. It was pretty nuts.
Before this, I mean, you worked on a couple short films in the past. How was making that jump to a full feature film? Did you find it harder than you thought?
It was interesting. The first thing I ever directed was the same approach we did for this, which was a 35-minute short. I shouldn't have done that for my first ever time directing, but I learned a lot that way. And the second thing I directed was taking the lessons I learned from that and making a refined and polished like 7-minute short. And I can never understand why like the 7-minute short did so well and the 35-minute one no one liked, right? Makes a lot of sense, but the goal with the Leaching was to marry those two together. So to kind of take that ambition, but provide the same level of polish. And with us being college students and having not really any deadlines, it took a lot of the pressure off for us to cram things under a certain timeline. So we really were able to just experiment and have fun. But I learned a lot on this process. I learned everything you can learn with making an indie movie through this whole ordeal. Very grateful that we went through and did it.
Your two leads, Reese and Devon, how was it working with them? Did they kind of help quite a bit along, as you're learning as well, having them come on board with you?
They're both fantastic. And Reese, I've worked with her before. She actually played a very sadistic character in a short film that I did prior to this. So like the complete opposite. She's great. She's, I always tell her she's a one-take wonder. I think there was only, across the 20-something days of shooting, there was only one time where we had to like workshop a performance with Reese. And then Reese introduced me to Devon. He really felt a pull to the script. And we had so many long talks about what the movie was and what Ellis was. And that was it was tough, but it was great to like workshop the character of Ellis with Devon. And that was my favorite moment I've ever had directing was with Devon. When you watched the Leaching, did you see the post-credit scene?
Yes, I did.
That post-credit scene he did first try. It was awesome. It is a 4.5 minute unbroken monologue. Okay, not first try. That's a lie. He was halfway through it, and then my neighbors pounded on the door for a noise complaint. But second try, he did it all the way through, and working with him to brainstorm and workshop that performance and like what it means for Ellis's character was so cool. And seeing him just become Ellis in front of the crew for 5 minutes straight and just like explode, it was great. It was great.
You mentioned at the beginning of kind of inspired by creature features. You have a creature in your film. Can you speak to kind of coming up with the design for your creature and implementing in it? Because you don't see it for a bit, and then there's that kind of reveal.
I really wanted to play with the idea of something that is ambiguous. Is it a monster? Is it an angel? Is it supernatural? Is it natural? And I think with our design for the leech, it kind of hits that gray area for all of it. Like it is humanoid, but it's definitely not human. But like it can speak, and it speaks in kind of a divine and profound way. So you're inclined to think it might be some form of angel, but it's never said for certain, which is what I love the most about it. It's might just be its own thing that is being assigned meaning to by the villain. But from, the movie's called The Leaching, we have leeches in it. I really wanted to have this creature's design to match, the rest of the movie. And I love how at different points in the movie, you feel certain different ways towards it. Like when you first start seeing the leech, he's a beast, a monster. But there are times in the movie where you feel sad for him. You feel that it's like a abused, pathetic creature. But then when it's like really pissed off, then it's a hulking, towering, giant monster. I wanted a creature that was versatile. And I was pretty happy with how it turned out.
There are moments throughout this film that get very tense, very dark. Many times you don't know what's going on, trying to put the pieces together yourself, as Vivian is trying to do the same thing, put the pieces together of what is going on. How did you kind of go about setting the tension in those kind of moments?
It's two things. I think our mysteries unfolded via these like non-linear flashbacks and nightmares. And I think those tense moments come down to the look and sound of the movie. We decided in post and also early on that we were going to go with this high grain look to kind of invoke like memories and stuff. And I think that makes those nightmare sequences where she's seeing bits and pieces of the truth, especially eerie, intense. But in the real world, we tried to make the scenes with her and Ellis in the house contrast that a lot. So we definitely took out the grain. We made it like the shots are way more still. You feel like a fly on the wall when you're in the house. And I worked with Devon, like little Easter eggs you can find is if her and if Vivian and Ellis ever touch, like if she pats his hand or something, he always wipes his hand on his clothes. Like he's hiding this seething hate he has for her. And the moment she leaves the room, it just all comes out. So like when she goes to bed for the night and we stay with him as he's watching TV, he goes, ah. It's like this energy of being a good dad is like pushing itself out of his body the second he doesn't have to put that act on anymore. And that was kind of the attitude and energy we had with, from the acting to how we shot it to the lighting, it carried through the whole way.
And did you ever find yourself essentially as you're kind of either filming or piecing it together of, okay, I don't want to give too much away for what's going to happen, of like, did you ever have to completely either get rid of scenes or like, oh, we need to put something in here to help either not give too much away or keep that secret?
Yes. Unfortunately, and I'm very glad I co-edited this. I edited this with my friend Theo Sanders, and he convinced me to cut a lot, and I'm very glad he did. There were 3 things I was heartbroken that we cut, but they would have just spoiled the movie from the jump. The one that is, it might be one of my favorite shots in the movie, and it got axed, is Ellis standing on top of the hill after the dock scene, staring at her menacingly. Now in the movie, it's just the house, but it was just too soon in the runtime to have him standing there stalking her. The scene where the leech is in the woods eating the girl, and it kind of plays with, is this real or is it not? We would cut a lot of shots out of that because you just saw way too much of the leech. And now it's weird when you're only seeing parts of him for the rest of the movie. On our DVD, we kind of sprinkled in a lot of the stuff that was cut. He's got some really nasty, creepy performance stuff that we had to cut as well, just because I was feeling like it was getting a little too much during some of the flashbacks, but they are in the DVD if you're curious to see that.
So physical media is coming out for it?
Yes. Don't know for certain when, but it is on the way.
This came out on July 7th. It's out in the world. People can watch it. What's the response been around it thus far?
It's been pretty good. I was a little worried when it first released because, like, we made this in college for $15,000. Not everyone knows that when they watch the movie, and that's totally fine. Like, you shouldn't have to know that. And I was worried we were just going to get, like, eviscerated because of our budgetary restrictions, but people really liked it. And I've gotten a lot of messages from people just being like, yo, this is so strange and cool. Like, thank you for making this. And I appreciate that. I think that's the lane that it is. It's a weird, strange little monster movie that you stumble upon and you're like, what the hell is this? I kind of, and I think that's what the Leaching is. It's a lot of different genres in one, and it's badass and weird and a fun little time.
It is, and it's something that will honestly kind of take you on a ride of like, okay, I love this. Wait, do I like this? No, I do like this. And you're just kind of like, you're all over the place. And it takes you on a ride as you were, as I said, trying to figure out, put the pieces together the same way Vivian is, where you're just like, okay. Well, I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your day to chat with me about the Leaching. Where can people either follow along to the movie or follow you to kind of see what you have going next?
Yeah, absolutely. On Instagram, my Instagram is just Evan Show with 2 W's, so EvanShowWW. And then we have a Leaching account on both Instagram and TikTok at The Leaching Film. Post a lot on there, a lot of updates, exciting stuff coming with the Leaching. So yeah, if you want to stay tuned on how far we can push this weird little movie, definitely follow those social media platforms.
Awesome. Thank you so much again. Best of luck with the movie. I'm going to keep my eyes out for that DVD that come out later on.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
I want to thank Evan again for taking time out of his day to chat with me. talking all things The Leaching, how it took a while to get this made and everything behind it. As I said, this was an enjoyable movie. You have Vivian, played by Reese Parrish, who wakes up, she has amnesia. She doesn't know where she is, what's going on. All the while she's trying to put pieces together to remember. And then her father, Ellis, played by Devon Lohman, is there kind of leading her. I'll put that in quotes. I don't want to give anything away of where it kind of goes. But then you have dark things that kind of happen for her. There's a locked room. She doesn't know what's in there. There's this creature out in the woods that she doesn't know what it is. She's seeing dead people. She's just got pieces that slowly kind of put the story together for her. Why am I here? And as you do, you're kind of putting the pieces together with her. And I like the style of great scenes where they use a lot of color lighting. I like the creature. What's funny is when you first see the creature, it reminded me of a creature that I've seen in the X-Files. And I was like, oh, I kind of like how it's like a humanoid leech. Let's just say that. And I did say that it kind of felt like this was something that would be a Tales from the Dark Side, Twilight Zone, Tales from the Crypt, kind of a story like that. This isolated story of this dark thing happening that you're trying to piece together and figure it out. It just had this feel of something like that to me, and I liked that about it. There were moments where the pacing kind of slows down a bit, and I wanted it to kind of pick up and get going. But honestly, I've said this many times. Indie films, no budget. Filmmakers, this is something they learn as they go, as well as the budget wasn't there. I mean, he made this movie for a long time. It took him a while to get this movie made. Props to him for getting it done. I look forward to whatever he has on the table next. I think it'll be a fun tale. Let's just say that. Whatever he has going forward. You know, The Leaching, just like any movie, it probably won't be for everybody. It is a slow burn. It's just mostly two people. Also, make sure you stay through the credits because there is a scene at the end of the credits. Evan talked about it a bit in the interview. Stay through the credits to see this scene. Even with its kind of slowdowns and a few pacing issues, I liked the story that was being told. I liked the puzzle pieces that we were figuring out with Vivian as we kind of went along. And some of the imagery. There was some imagery that just looked great. There's one scene on a dock that I thought was really good. I mean, it's a simple scene with the two of them just talking, sitting on a dock. But I loved how it was shot. There you go. Look for The Leaching. If you see The Leaching, let me know what you thought of it. And as I head out, I have a double feature to go with The Leaching. And they're two different kind of tales of an isolation of trying to figure out what is going on. It is another movie that recently came out called Blackout. It's kind of I don't want to say the same situation, but it is a similar piece of someone, well, it's multiple people don't know what's going on when this figure shows up at their house, wants them to go with them. I think playing it with The Leaching, I think would make a good double feature of an isolated, putting the pieces together, figuring things out. So there's my double feature for this episode, The Leaching with Blackout. Well, that will do it for this episode of Tomb of Terrors. Just make sure you subscribe to the show so you don't miss anything that happens over here on the show, whether it is these interview episodes, quick reviews that I do, Tales from Tubi versus I do with my wife, or the Year of Paul Nashi, the Year of Nashi, where I'm going through Paul Nashi movies, one every month with a special guest. But you want to check those out. And make sure you follow me over on Instagram. Just look up Tomb of Terrors, or on TikTok, Tomb of Terrors as I'm putting out quick videos of films I'm watching, part of the Fantasia International Film Festival. I will be back soon with a brand new episode. Just snuggle up in that blanket, turn off the lights, because it's okay to be scared. We'll talk to you later, everybody.